Welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to discuss training, specifically the training that I've been doing. I have some knee issues here. I think that's pretty common of a lot of hikers, particularly the older hikers. We have had a lot of wear and tear on our knees. So in order for me to be successful in this hike, I want to make sure that my knees are as strong and as resilient as possible. So I'm going to go through some of the things that I've been doing. I've been working with a physiotherapist plus my own research. So this is a combination of both of those things and what I've been doing. And so far it's been working for me. I've done a couple of training hikes with my full pack load up some good hills, and I've not yet had any problems with my knees. So hopefully that'll bode well for when I actually start southbound for my AT hike. So to start with, we're going to discuss knees in general. Basically, a lot of knee pain, not always unless there's an obvious reason, but most knee pain is just due to the fact that we're asking a lot more of it than it's capable of doing, whether that's because we have weak muscles, lack of mobility, or we're just doing too much too fast. So all three of those tend to be pretty common for hikers, particularly through hikers. For me, I want to make sure that that doesn't happen. So this is what I'm doing. When it comes to knees, usually it's not the knee itself, it's the muscle surrounding it. So usually you think below ankle, above hip, particularly your gluteal muscles, which are one of your strongest muscles, can also be one of your weakest muscles, particularly in a culture where we sit down a lot. We don't tend to use them. They kind of atrophy. They don't get activated when we actually go out to walk. Now, I am a nurse, so I do walk a lot, but I'm walking on very even ground with very comfortable shoes. And although I am walking, I don't even know, 5-6 miles a day at work, I have sit breaks in between that, and I am, like I said, I'm on flat ground. I do a lot of stairs at work just to get my cardio going, but that's not quite the same. For me, the big problem with my knees was a muscle imbalance. I have weak gluteal muscles and tight and weak ankle muscles. So those are really where I focused my training on, was kind of strengthening those smaller muscles, particularly the glute med, helping to increase some quad strength, hamstring strength, ensuring that my ankles were nice and strong. I've mentioned in a few videos, I do roll them a lot, so there's a little too much flexibility in my ankles, which can cause some problems, so I want to make sure they're as strong as possible. So with that being said, let's get into some of the exercises that I will be doing. Okay, so exercise 1 is going to be a hip abduction leg extension. So I use these yellow bands. They're just cheap bands you buy at a sporting store. Put them around my knees. I'm going to bend over from the hips. This is a one-legged exercise. So I'm on one leg and I'm going to rotate my hip up and out. And you really should feel it in this back glute med particularly. So I do that 12 times on each side for 2 to 3 reps, depending on how much time I have that day, but it really works that small little muscle. And again on this side, one leg nice and strong, and up and back. So that's exercise 1. Second exercise I'm going to do is a banded walk. So these are pretty common to find. You squat down, you've got the band above your knees, and you move side to side, just like that. And again, I'll do 12 to 15 steps one direction, and then one back, and that counts as 1 rep. And I'll do that 2 to 3 times. So next I'm just going to show you the assisted pistol squat. So I take a 10-pound weight for me. It is whatever you can manage, what's comfortable for you. I'm going to lift one leg up, nice and strong, push into the heel and stand. Nice and tall, and then slowly and controlled back down. And continue this for 10 reps on each leg. And do this 2 to 3 sets. Again, trying very hard to keep the knee tracking out and not in. That's a challenge for me because it wants to go in, but that's why it's a good exercise. Another exercise I like to do for strengthening the legs and ankles is a side squat. So I'm gonna push the butt back and back up. It's good for mobility and single leg strength. Pushing up, it helps with the hamstrings as well, which are integral in going downhill. So again, I'll do this 12 to 15 times per side for 2 to 3 sets. Another really good exercise for working those small little butt muscles is with the band, but at the ankle. And you're just going side to side. Again, it looks easy, but it really fires that glute med up, which is the muscles that, for me anyway, that tend to be quite weak. I will do, well, really kind of to failure, and then I'll stop and do another set to failure. Now, a piece of equipment I have that not a lot of people do have, but if you happen to have one, I think it's great for balance. I've always lacked in my balance, so that's why I own one. But I do practice these just standing. And you can see clearly I need a lot of work still, but I'll try to do about 30 seconds per side just to build up the ankle strength and the foot strength in there. Now, I discussed earlier when walking downhill, not to jam out your legs, so I'll use this as an example. So if you're walking downhill and you're just going straight leg like that, that puts a lot of pressure on this knee and this knee as well, and the muscles really aren't being used. So that's probably the worst way to walk downhill. So if you're gonna walk down, you wanna kind of lean back, put the emphasis back here, do a soft heel land, bending that knee, and then rolling out of it. Using your trekking poles as counterweights and to help keep some of the distribution up here as opposed to just in your legs. So again, for the other side, you're gonna bend backwards, trying to keep upright. And when you land, soft knee, roll forward and roll out. So you wanna keep a lot of the strength in here, so you're kind of walking down like you're on a squatty potty. But you're gonna have amazing thighs at the end of it. For calf raises, I might do a single calf raise, so like being nice and tall on the toe, 10 to 15 times, 2 to 3 sets. Or the sissy squat, which is holding your core nice and strong. You're gonna lean back, you're gonna push through your legs, you're gonna bend at the ankle so there's good mobility there, lift the heels up and work your way down. This is a very challenging move, I find. I hang on to something and I slowly work. I only do about 5 or 6 of these to 2 to 3 reps again, because it is a tough one. You can really feel it building up all the strength, particularly in your knees. This will show you the anterior tibialis stretch, lifting up the toes. It's good. And you can change the angle that you're at depending on how difficult you want it, how difficult you can make it. Again, 12 to 15 times per set for 2 to 3 reps. Another core exercise that I do actually works the core as well as the hamstrings and your glutes. It's just the basic bridge. So you're gonna get into the position, you're gonna lift up in a nice straight line, don't too far up. I like to do the marching as it puts more emphasis on your hamstrings. And I'll do this 10 to 15 times, 2 to 3 sets like all the rest of them. Another good core exercise is the dead bug. You can Google this one because there's lots of great tips on how to do it properly, but essentially it's just driving your back and your core down and doing alternate leg raises and hand raises. Again, about 15 times, 2 to 3 sets, just because you need a good strong core to pack that back. Strengthens the hip flexors. So I'll put both my feet in just to show you from a side view, and I'll balance it and I'll lift it up, so I'm really working the hip flexors. You can also do this with a kettlebell on your foot, or wherever you have it. I happen to have bands at home, so that's what I use. And I will do that again, 10 to 15 times per leg, 2 to 3 sets. And the final exercise I do is just a wall sit. So again, 90 degrees, as low down as you can go for as long as you can go, till failure, stop and do it 2 to 3 times. So it's just a good strengthening one, and I think most people have walls. As with all of my exercise routines, I always do some stretching prior just to loosen up the muscles, the back, the spine, the hips, the knees, all of those things. And when I'm done hiking, I have a stretching routine that I do follow as well. And they're actually the same stretching routine for the morning and the evening. But I'll be doing a separate video on that, so follow me for that. Another great exercise for training, other than going out there and putting your pack on with your weight, is if you don't have access to that, or you just don't have time to go out into the bush and you can have access to a treadmill, is to walk backwards. Walking backwards helps to repeat the motion of what walking downhill would be like. If you can do it, particularly making sure that you focus on squatting a bit more on the walking down, or walking backwards I should say, and rolling the feet out. That goes a long way to really helping strengthen those knee muscles so that you don't end up with hiker knee. If you enjoyed that and found value in it, give it a thumbs up and subscribe just to see if this training program actually worked well for me and how much pain I'm actually going to be in when I'm hiking the AT, because you're always going to be in some kind of pain. But do thank you for watching, and check out some of our other videos.